YouTube, Doug Wallman. I'm just here at a local coffee shop. It's actually Dunn Brothers, so I feel a little awkward recording, but I'm learning to get over it. So I'm here to do more reading of this book, Patmos, 3 Days, 2 Men, One Extraordinary Conversation by Dr. C. Baxter Kruger. So I'm already 9 chapters in. I'm not sure how to summarize what I've read. In fact, I think it's my job not to. I just encourage you to get the book and read it. Unfortunately, yes, I have been recommended lots of books in my life and turned every one of them down or read maybe half of it. Even The Shack, I maybe made it halfway through. I know people are going to be really disappointed in that fact. This is probably its brother or sister or something. I think it pairs really well with that book, but I seem to be more into this book. Of course, it's been probably 10 years since, or 10 or more years since I was introduced to The Shack. When was that, 2006 or 2008? So yeah, probably closer to 13 years, not real great at math. I could probably reread it now and be more, or hold more interest. But for right now, this book is holding my interest. So yes, I did get myself a bag of coffee. It's kind of hard to justify even buying coffee now. It's so expensive. When it came with a free coffee, I chose a cold brew. I think it was called Infinite Black or something. So I haven't tried it yet, but I imagine it's pretty good. And this one here is a light roast. It's the lightest one they had. Costa Rica, Central Valley. I'll probably do a review on this because it's about the only way I can even justify buying these coffees anymore. They're so expensive. Maybe if I do a review, it'll make it feel like I have the possibility of gaining a return somehow. If you want to buy me a coffee, that'd be great. I would appreciate it. Not a whole bag, but at least one coffee. Or maybe a whole bag. I don't care. Well, I would appreciate it. I don't mean I don't care. That would be greatly appreciated. But I'm going to go ahead and read this book. I'll see if maybe I'll return and offer any thoughts I have, but I don't want to provide any spoiler alerts. So far, it does hold my interest pretty good, and that's unlike me. Usually I'm just like, meh, but this one did hold. Maybe it's just the right time for reading it. You know how that is, you get to know the author first. I think for me that might be important, to get to know the personality of Dr. C. Baxter Kruger was kind of an important step for me. But anyway, I'll get to reading and we will maybe offer any insights a little bit later. Thank you. So yeah, I'm in 9 chapters and I think there's like 31, something like that. Right, so I made it up to chapter 14. I think I roughly read 5 to 6 chapters, something like that. So there's one line I can read in here because to not create any copyright issues, I'm only allowed to mention a line or two. Here's one line that holds true for the book itself, from the book. I suddenly realized that the rest of this journey would require my heart. I think that's fairly true. And even the author's character in the book, he had moments where he see himself as a little boy. Hopefully this was not too much of a spoiler alert. But he quickly shelved that scene where he was literally looking at himself in a vision, kind of as a hurt little boy or something. So there's just lots of kaleidoscopic thoughts, scenes where it's admittingly a little bit confusing, but they kind of admit it's both the Apostle John and the main character, Aiden's the alias name for Baxter C. Kruger, are navigating kind of a complicated conversation. All right, I have to interject here at home, not at the coffee shop, obviously. Hey, look, I'm wearing the Patmos t-shirt. I actually got this t-shirt before I got the book, but here I am with both of them, right? One thing I want to add is kind of a disclaimer, but an important one, is that when I say it's kind of like complicated, that's a bit of a misnomer. Did I already say that? It's not so much that it's complicated, although it may seem that way, but I think the reason it seems that way is we've already been indoctrinated, whether you're religious or not, whether you're a Christian or not. We think about the Bible or Christianity or Jesus, God, in a certain way. And this book kind of helps us unravel some of those deeply ingrained complications, shall we say. And just the unraveling alone is actually simplifying things. This is going to take a while to maybe wrap your head around it intellectually, but it's really not about the intellectual aspect per se. There is that element for sure. You're going to think about it, but I think it's where it positions your heart is perhaps more important. There's probably something even more important than that I'm missing, but it's the love that God has for each and every one of us. So let me just interject that real quickly, and we'll get back to where I was at the coffee shop. It are navigating kind of a complicated conversation, but it does bring out some apparent truth slowly, methodically, and you just have to read the book for yourself, because if I shared it, first of all, I'd have to understand what I read, which I did, but it's hard to sum up. It's kind of a deep discussion at times, but then it kind of takes a break, and the next scene after the deep discussion may just be they're eating something, or he's on a hike and Patmos looking for twigs and leaves or something so he can make a mattress for the Apostle John. That's probably enough of a spoiler alert. I don't want to give too much of the book away, but there's this kind of this thread of deep conversation and maybe just more relatable life scenery. And he uses the word kaleidoscope to describe how his mind was being blown and sort of rearranged on his understanding of the Bible, of the gospel. I actually didn't use the word gospel in here. I don't think. It's probably more about the book of John, actually. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So he is asking the Apostle John a lot of questions about what he meant by the way he opened that whole book, and the relationship between the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, but especially the relationship between the Father and the Son, and how that permeates everything that has ever existed or ever will exist, or creation itself. I'm kind of at a loss for words on how to even explain everything in a condensed format. It definitely has that feeling of like a movie, like it should be a movie someday. I think it might hold more attention than maybe other books I've read, so I look forward to hearing your thoughts and comments, except I really haven't provided you much information about the book. I'm really finding it hard to summarize it. I don't know if AI could help me do it without ruining it. Maybe I could do that. Summarizing Patmos by Baxter Kruger without spoilers is challenging, but here's a general overview. Book premise: Patmos is a thought-provoking novel that explores the intersection of theology and personal journey. The story follows Aidan, a burned-out theologian from Mississippi who mysteriously travels back in time to the Isle of Patmos, where he meets the aged Apostle John. Over 3 days, they engage in deep conversations, and Aidan experiences visions, revelations, and reflections on his past, themes and ideas. The book delves into themes of spiritual journey, Aidan's struggles and growth as he navigates his faith and understanding of God. Theology and practice, the intersection of theological concepts and everyday life. Trinity and Relationship, Exploration of the Trinity and its Implications for Human Relationships and Understanding of God. Tone and style. The book is described as a creatively written story that highlights the evolution of the Christian faith with a focus on character development and theological discussion. If you're interested in learning more about the book's themes or ideas without major spoilers, I'd be happy to help. This is AI. Alternatively, you can explore reviews on Goodreads or Biblical Life Lessons for more insights. Alright, I thought I'd read a summary that AI provided me. So I kind of copped out in that regard, but I did try my own first and realized I was so bad at summarizing I needed some help. I don't know, maybe mine was sufficient enough, but in case it wasn't, there you go. And I still recorded this at the coffee shop, but it was hard to read at the same time that I was recording. You know what I mean? I couldn't put my camera, my phone is my camera, but I had to read it, so I just put it on an audio recording. Hope this is good enough. There's a lot to how it unfolds, because it's it blows your mind, because the people you're reading about, their minds are being blown. Their minds are being blown, so you're kind of watching their minds being blown. Like I said, the word kaleidoscope was in here. So he's even trying to describe kaleidoscope. I think a big kaleidoscope just turned in my mind, I said, shaking my head. I will need some time to process this. Kaleidoscope, that sounds dangerous, he muttered, grinning. Think of a tube with pieces of colored glass prisms. I shook my head in frustration, partly because I could find no way to explaining a kaleidoscope, and partly because something very much like one actually did turn in my mind. So that did kind of happen to me as I was reading the book, but I can't even revisit some of those thoughts that I had. I'd probably have to read it 2 or 3 times to really have it solidified. But there were some thought processes in there that were rather interesting, but I admit I can't remember them exactly right now. But I think the main takeaway would be the relationship between the Father and the Son, and how all creation came into being through that relationship. And let's not forget the Holy Spirit. But it seemed to me that really seemed to focus between the Father and the Son, and the Holy Spirit definitely is part of that. Because the Holy Spirit she was definitely mentioned, and kind of specifically within the she gender. Doesn't make that an exclusive way to describe her, but it certainly seemed like a new way to bring her about in her beauty and her majesty and her way of conveying truth to our broken minds. So I think I'll just leave it at that. Thanks for listening. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You may be hearing more about this book. I actually wore the Patmos shirt this morning in church as I was leading worship, but I thought it'd be kind of weird me walking in a coffee shop carrying the Patmos book and wearing the t-shirt. It's like I'm not that big of a poster boy for this shirt. There's some people hanging out, so it's kind of weird me doing this, but I'm getting a little more brave doing videos in public. So thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Now remember to do a review of that coffee in the near future. Thanks for watching. I'll provide maybe a few insights and then I'll be on my way. It's an interesting read for sure. I will say this much, it's between the main character in the book and the Apostle John. Aiden's alias name for Baxter Kruger. Um, it definitely has that feeling of like a movie, like it should be a movie someday. I think it might hold more attention than maybe other books I've read, so